Hi everyone. I recently had a question on how to do a rating scale on a Nintex form and then calculate the total. So if you think about, I've got 4 choices here, and we've got strongly disagree, disagree, either agree or disagree, agree or strongly agree. And so what you might be doing with this is trying to figure out, well, where do they sit between very, very low generally and very, very high. So low, we would score strongly disagree as 1 and strongly agree as high. So how would we go about getting the total? So there's a couple of different ways of doing this, but I would start with something simple by saying add a variable and say, let's say choice 1. And I would say if else choice 1, let's think about this. So choice 1, and what we need is all of the choices. So we need to come back. Ooh. What we actually need is all of our choices. So if I come to here, we'll copy all of these, go to our variables, and what we basically need to do is an if-else condition for each of those strongly agree and disagree. So we need to say if else, and then choice 1. And what we'll do is once we get choice 1, we can merge them all together or have different variables and those sort of things. So if choice 1 equals, and we'll copy this one. You want to do double equals, quotation marks like that. And then you would return 1. So you need to have a whole number or an integer. Now, if it's not strongly disagree, then you need to go to your second one. So then you'd say if else, and you can pretty much copy this. Oh, actually copy from here, form choice, and then you'd say disagree. You kind of get the idea of what's happening now. But the end of it is the tricky part. So strongly disagree, we return 2. Else, we're going to keep going. Let me think, what else are we missing? So I'm going to copy that one, and that will require another bracket. And we're going to grab this one, and we can pretty much do the same again. We need another bracket. We have to agree. Okay, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and we don't actually need to do the 5th one, which is a bit weird because it's always going to be 5. We know if it's nothing else, it's going to be 5. So it's basically a bunch of nested if-else conditions. So if the choice 1 is strongly disagree, then it's 1. Otherwise, if it's equal to disagree, it's 2. If it's neither agree or disagree, it's 3, so on and so forth. And you just need to make sure that you've got the closing brackets. As you can see, I'm highlighting those, and they all sort of cascade down. And the last choice is always going to be 5. So we could say choice 1 calculation. So we've got that one done, and we can go and create. Now, we could do, so we can go and copy this basically, and all you need to do is add choice 2 calculation, and then you go choice 2, and you could do this through make it easier on yourself, and you can do it through Notepad if you wanted to. You could just actually paste this out, choice 2, choice 2, and now we've got that one as well. So change that to a integer. Now we've got the second one done, and you kind of get the idea. So I'm going to go ahead and fill these out, and I'll come back when we've completed all these. Okay, so I've got my choice 1, choice 2, choice 3, and choice 4. So they're all basically doing the same thing. Choice 1, choice 2, choice 3, and choice 4, all calculating. So what I could do is come back to my designer and go to my label, and I can just output the value just so we can check to see what it all looks like. Choice 2, choice 3, choice 4. Okay, so we're going to maybe not bold those. Let's just, there we go. Okay, so let's go to our preview, and they're all 5 because they don't have a value. So that's probably something you want to actually also fix. You might want to say, well, you could actually make them, you could do it, extend that variable. So let's say they must make a choice. Let's say it's all required. That's one way around this. So required is yes, required is yes, required is yes, and required is yes. So then you don't get something you're not expecting. So when they go and try and submit, it's going to try and say, well, you've got to try and vote on something. So now you can see all those are changing into 3s or 4 and 1 and so on and so forth. So you can see that. The other option is changing your variable so that you could come through here and do another one of these. You get rid of that, put this here. Oh, I forgot to get the last choice. Let's go back there. So let's go strongly agree. Let's grab that one. And we go to variables and we'll edit this one. And so you could actually just get rid of that 5 and pop that there. We'll copy this, and if else, if it's strongly agree, so we're going to cut that. Strongly agree, it's going to be 5, else it's 0, and you just got to make sure you finish off your parentheses. So that's the other option there. So let's just see how that one plays out on the form, and I'll come back and adjust the other ones. So I'll go and update, go to preview, and now you can see the first one is actually 0, so it's a resting state of 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and fix up my variables, change the other 3, and we'll come back and see how we go. Okay, so I've updated all my variables. So if I come back to preview, you can see now they all have, I guess, a resting state, or when they don't have a value, it's given 0. So I'd strongly recommend that you do actually make choices. But as you can see here, the values are now starting to change. Now, seeing 1, 2, 1, and 5 isn't particularly useful. So what we actually want to do is create a final variable. So you'd say total, and you want to say choice 1 calculation plus choice 2 calculation. And what we might do is format this a bit easier. So we'll go plus choice 3 calculation plus choice 4 calculation. So now we've got all those there, and it needs to be an integer, so it's actually going to calculate correctly. So now we've got our all our additions, or all our radio buttons all calculated together. We'll press create, and then we can come back to our label, and we can actually remove that. So we'll go and remove all those, and we can do square bracket, and total. Okay, so we might even move that up there. There we go. So now we come to preview. So the total is 0. So the total score is 0 once I start adding 1, 3, 6, and 9. So now you can see that's how I can calculate all those. And you could do this slightly differently. You could probably actually remove this variable, which is going to break my form. And you could actually copy all of this, and you could edit this one and start pasting all this together. So go plus that, update. Now we can get rid of this one. Delete. Copy this one. Get the idea where I'm going. So edit and make this one massive variable. Out update. We'll delete that one. And the final one, we're going to grab this one, and hopefully this is actually going to work for us. Okay, update. Now we can delete this one. So now we've just got, we can rename this to total or something like that. So we go update, come back to designer, and we can see total's the old version of the variable. So that variable doesn't exist anymore, even though it's got the same name. So just go and re-add it because we renamed an existing one. And okay, then we go to preview. All right, so it's still working okay. Strongly disagree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. So these are all 2. 2 times 4 is 8. And as you can see here, it's all adding up to a total of 16. So you might have a score, and if you say it's anywhere between, I don't know, 12 to 16 is a good score, and so on and so forth. But basically, that's how you can make a rating score and do a calculation across all those different values. Hope you find that useful. Let me know in the comments. Cheers.